Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wholehearted Loving. I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Georgianna.
Today, we are going to go in depth on a self-connection practice. So normally I'd lead us in and then we'd do a self-connection practice, but that's going to be the entirety of today's episode. And this is going to be an exploration of sensory perception. So G, go ahead.
So as always, I like us to just find your anchoring point. What I mean by that is what part of your body is touching something that you're quite aware of. So for me, it's my butt on the ottoman. And so find what that point is for you. And let that moment of body awareness also connect you to your breath. And what I mean by that is just notice your breath. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of a sensory exercise, and we're going to we're going to use some prompts. So we're going to practice saying some things out loud. It's a little bit like talking to yourself. So you might feel weird doing it. You might feel great doing it. See how open you are to practicing and playing. So the first thing we're going to say is right now, something I feel is. And what I want you to look for or feel for is, what do you feel your body touching? So for example, right now I feel my right foot on my left leg. So you're just going to report that as a sentence out loud.
Right now, I feel my feet on the ground and the toes of my right foot not touching the ground.
Okay. And then just pause. You might pause and you might be there for a full breath. And then we're going to switch it. And the next thing we say is, right now, something I see is. So right now, something I see is a cloud in the sky. I'm just going to say that out loud.
Right now, I see that book.
And again, and you might reset by feeling your anchor point again. You might reset by just being there for a full breath. We're going to do that again. Right now, something that I feel my body touching is. So I feel my right thumb touching my right ankle.
I feel my fingertips connected and my thumbs intertwined.
Okay. And we're going to switch again to what we see. So right now, something that I see is a pink Post-it on the fridge.
I see a blue poster.
And we're going to do that one last round. Right now, something I feel my body touching is, I feel my left foot touching the ottoman.
Right now, I feel my calves against the ottoman.
And then we'll go to something we see again. Right now, something I see is the plant on the floor.
Right now, something I see is tree bark.
And just be there. Look at that thing and be there for one full inhale and exhale. And that's it. Shake it off, move your body if you need to, and just notice how that felt. Maybe it felt peaceful. Maybe it felt weird. Maybe it felt awkward. Maybe it was delightful. Doesn't matter. We're just playing and noticing.
For me, that felt very presence-making
and
simple, bite-sized, which is peaceful.
So for me, I just noticed my whole energy is like slowed down. I feel like this sense of I'm here. And my breath feels like I can expand into it a little bit more. Now, Steph and I have described our feeling experience as things that you would probably deem as quite pleasant. It's also totally okay if your experience was very neutral or if it wasn't enjoyable at all. So the purpose of these practices is not to necessarily feel better. Sometimes the byproduct is that you feel better. But really what we're doing is learning how to interrupt our day with a little bit of body practice, body connection practice, and to learn to notice what feels good, what feels okay, what feels not good for our bodies. Right?
Mhm. Can you
Mm-hmm.
say a bit about the sciencey aspects? And I want to say that I love that we use this term regularly. The sciencey thing is like, whatever,
Yes.
proprioception. So we're turning our heads, we might be turning our bodies, we're touching physically, we're seeing with our eyes what's happening to our
Yeah.
nervous systems while we're doing this work.
Well, I like to call it like the why are we doing it? I really like understanding the why. And so this is an example of what you might experience in priming the body for peace in the body based toolkit. We record these little short practices that you can practice anytime in the day. And we also include a little video on why we do it. Right. So the anchoring, the why is just to feel a little bit more body presence. Most of us are on autopilot all the time. Most of us are in our heads ruminating about things that stress us out. So we don't want to get rid of the rumination. We just want to add some body presence. So that's why we practice the anchoring. We did speaking out loud and we used a particular phrase. I always like adding in right now because it reminds me that this is a passing moment. Like right now, I notice this, right now, I feel this way, or right now, I see this, but it won't be forever. And that's something that a lot of us need practice with because we think if we're having a hard time, it's going to be forever. Or we're worried that if we're having a good time, it's going to go away. Well, the reality is it will go away. It's just a right now experience. So let's get in the habit of learning to be okay with what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think the saying of that phrase, and this is something that we always in our groups are slowing people down and reminding them to say the whole phrase because everything you just described, we all know, we know that it's just a passing moment. But
Mm-hmm.
when you slow down and say the words, something shifts. This is the magic
Mm-hmm.
of doing that we talk about a lot too. Actually do the thing. It's not just knowing the thing, it's doing the thing that will make these
Yeah.
big shifts.
And doing the thing, like many of us don't speak with language like right now. Right now, I feel, right now, I need, right now, I want, right now, what's hard for me is. But if you get in the habit of that, all your communication changes. How someone is able to receive you changes. Um, we're speaking it out loud also because many of us have constricted our voices. We think our voice doesn't matter, or we think we have to know the perfect thing to say before we use our voice. So, this is getting us in the habit of hearing our voice, using our voice, not having any conditions of when we can use our voice. Speaking also forces us to breathe, which a lot of people I know, myself included in the past, we hold our breath. And when we hold our breath, your nervous system, like you're not relaxed and calm when you hold your breath. Like it signals something to your body of like, oh, something not good might be happening. I need to be on alert. Like, I'm holding my breath. So by speaking, it's helping us stay connected to breath. Um, Speaking it out loud also gets us in the habit of something that you and I talk about a lot is reporting our minds, reporting what's happening, right? When we can report what's happening, we can notice what's happening. When you can notice what's happening, you can notice the impact, and then you can make a choice about whether you want to continue. When you get in the habit of reporting, saying out loud what's happening, you can have more easeful and clear communication with people because they get in the moment. Um, they get to see you in the moment, what's happening with you, right? Um, we also specifically said, right now, something I feel my body touching is to get us in the habit of coming back to body connection and body awareness. And also, I don't know if you noticed, I had to think a little bit. I had to be like, oh, what is touching what? What do I feel? And I was specific. I didn't just say, I feel my foot touching the chair, which I could have. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to challenge myself to be a bit more specific. So if you're ready for that challenge, you can do that as well. And what that does is it gives you just enough to think about and focus on that it makes it very difficult to describe what body part is touching what while you're worried about later, while
Mm.
you're ruminating about yesterday. It's hard. I don't know if we can actually physically do that at the same time.
Mhm.
So it gives us a reprieve from some of our old patterning of, negative thoughts or ruminating thoughts that take us out of the present moment and cause more stress.
Mhm.
Right. And then what we did was we practiced shifting attention from, okay, what does my body feel, to what do I see, like using different sensory experiences. Right. And also, what I see when I look at different things, it helps me expand my view. When we're feeling very anxious, very depressed, very overwhelmed, we're usually like this, like very narrow minded, narrow focused. And that typically looking at that one thing or that looking down creates more of that overwhelm sensation and experience. So being able to expand our view, change it up, helps bring a different kind of settling. You pointed this out earlier. We're turning our neck, we're turning our head, we're turning our body. Again, that's not something we typically do. We usually hold it really tight in one rigid way. And that also keeps you in a certain type of nervous system state, which I wouldn't call relaxed and regulated. Right. And here we went back and forth and we went 3 times. I went 3 times because 3 seems to be like my magic number. I feel like 3, you can do 3 of anything. It's not terribly hard. And 3 is easy to remember. So that's what we did. That's the why, or that's part of the why. Can I share? Actually, I'm curious. What's it like for you, Steph, hearing the whys behind it?
We talk about these whys quite often, so I don't feel like I have much to contribute there. I appreciate them. I like the context. I'm always struck by how we're designed differently. You're designed to look down at these tiny pieces, and I'm designed to look at the bigger thing. I'm always amazed at how you're able to dissect these whys from this not a lot of stuff we just did, and you can talk about what we did and why it's important for 10 minutes, and that's impressive to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's also like I find these practices is very symbolic of life. Like, are you able to be present with one thing and then shift focus? And then shift focus and know that you can always come back to this thing? Are you worried that if I don't focus on this and only this, that like it's going to go away?
Right.
Right. Um, what else did I want to say? Oh, I use this. I used this one very recently. Was it yesterday, last night? I was driving past a place that a lot of really hard things happened at this place. Driving past this place stirs up, I could give you probably 1,000 different memories that my brain could spiral into very quickly. And then they would create a certain feeling experience for me. And I'm going to have to drive past this place just because of how my life is set up right now a lot. And I was very aware with this. So, anyways, driving there, seeing all these visual cues that could bring me back to like, if we're going to the extreme, could bring me back to like some type of PTSD response because it was that bad. And I knew that and I could feel it starting to stir in my body. And I was driving. And so I said, and this was in my head, my kid was in the car, so I didn't really want to freak him out. I said it in my head. Right now, something I feel is the steering wheel in my hand. And for some reason, because I've done these practices so much, the way I tweaked it was I was looking for red things. Right now, something red I see is a stop sign. And then I'd come back to right now, I feel my foot on the clutch. Right now, something red I see is that sign over there. And I just kept alternating with a body thing and a red thing. So it made me like I still focus on the road. I was driving very slow in this area where you're meant to drive slow. But like there were tons of red things that I could pull out. And being able to do that helped me not spiral into, like, I knew I wasn't going to spiral into hyperventilating in a panic attack. I could tell. But what I was in danger of was spiraling into, oh, remember that thing that happened there? And then remember that thing that happened there? And then remember that time when that happened, and that time when he said that, and that time. I just knew it could have gone really fast and nothing terrible would have happened, but I would have been living in that energy of like, boom, 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 next thing, next thing, next thing, and feeling all these feelings that I'm like, I don't need to sit here and relive that right now. It's not of any
Mhm.
benefit to me. If I notice something and I feel sad about it, I can say, I feel sad about this. It reminds me of that. That's okay. But I don't need to add 30 more of those thoughts, which
Totally.
if you leave my brain to itself, it would
Yeah.
add 30 more of those thoughts. And I knew I didn't want that experience. So I was like, okay, let's do just right now. My body feels this. Right now, I see this red thing. Right now, my body feels this. Right now, I see this red thing. And I could drive past that whole place and I could feel my body settle again and my mind settle again, park the car and carry on with my night. And I was quite impressed. I was like, man, this stuff works. I mean, I know this stuff works, but like when you have moments like that where I know I could be pulled to a really dark, heavy, overwhelming place, and to see that something this simple can make a difference,
Yeah.
that excites me.
It's so powerful. Yeah, for sure. I want to talk a bit in the next episode about the sort of overwhelm I experience in life and how I've used these tools. It's been coming up a lot this week, and I'm feeling really grateful for them and excited that we get to share them with the world. And grateful
Mhm.
for you for the way
Mhm.
you're able to describe these things.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad the way that I am wired is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we walk through that exercise one more time to wrap things up? Is there anything
Okay.
else you want to say about it?
No, I think just try it out. See what you notice. And also try it out with an open heart and open mind, and try it out without expectation that it's going to make your life better or you're going to feel better. It's more like I call this practice, it's a practice of collecting pennies. Like it's going to seem like you're not doing anything big or substantial or worthwhile even, but trusting that if you keep collecting those pennies, it's going to make a difference at some point in your life. And one day, when you least expect it, you're going to pull out this tool and use it, and you're going to feel the positive impact of it. And we're excited for you to encounter that day, because it will happen for sure if you're willing to practice and try.
Yeah. Hot diggity. Right now, I feel my hands under my knees pushed into the ottoman with the pressure of my legs on top of them.
Hmm. Right now, I feel I'm pushing too. I'm pushing both hands into my thighs, and that is causing me to also feel my feet pushing into the ground.
Hmm. Right now, I see a water jug.
Right now, I see a printer.
Hmm. Right now, I feel a cat pressing up against my lower back.
Mhm. Right now, I feel very faintly some hair touching my face.
Hmm. Right now, I see a jar of coconut oil.
Right now, I see a very tall, skinny tree by itself on the top of a mountain.
Hmm. Right now, I feel my bum on the ottoman.
Right now, I feel my hand running along a soft fleece blanket.
Right now, I see sweet Gigi on my computer monitor.
Right now, I see your rising woman necklace.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It
That's
always
it.
brings a deep breath.
Yep. Simple.
Simple. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to wrap it up there for now. I hope you take this with you and practice and see what changes it brings to your life. Please do like, follow, and subscribe. And if anything we've said here today has been helpful for you, please share with somebody that you care about. And see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.